Welcome back everyone and thank you for joining the channel today. This is the place where ordinary pocket change turns into extraordinary stories and where hidden history, metal, and mistakes collide to create life-changing value. And today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and controversial what-if treasures in modern American coinage, the 1991 mint mark P quarter dollar from the United States. A coin most people have spent without a second thought, yet under the rarest circumstances, because of a perfect storm of minting errors, production mistakes, and once-in-a-generation anomalies, this seemingly common quarter has been rumored and theorized to reach an astonishing value approaching $18 million, not because every 1991 P quarter is valuable, but because the U.S. Mint in the early 1990s was operating at massive production levels, pushing billions of coins through aging machinery, rushed quality control systems, experimental alloys, and high-speed presses, all of which created rare opportunities for catastrophic errors that slipped past inspectors and entered circulation. And when multiple errors appear on a single coin at the same time, collectors enter a realm where price guides no longer apply and value is driven by uniqueness, story, and impossibility. And to understand how a 1991 P quarter could ever reach such a figure, we must first understand that Philadelphia minted quarters of that year were not supposed to carry a mint mark at all until later years, yet transitional dies, experimental punches, and undocumented die trials have fueled theories that a micro or distorted P mint mark could appear in abnormal locations, doubled, inverted, or partially missing, instantly turning a normal Washington quarter into a mint anomaly. And when you combine that with a double die obverse so extreme that Washington's profile appears shifted, shadowed, or even tripled, with Liberty showing heavy separation and the date 1991 visibly doubled under magnification, the coin steps into elite territory, especially if the doubling is not mechanical but hub doubling created during die production, which is far rarer and far more desirable. And then imagine that same coin also displaying a dramatic off-center strike of 10 to 20% while still retaining a full visible date. Because coins that are too far off-center lose identifying features and value, but those struck just enough to show dramatic error while keeping the date readable are the sweet spot for collectors. And if that off-center strike is paired with a partial collar error causing a broad strike with reeded edges bleeding into the rim or missing entirely on one side, the visual shock alone elevates desirability. And now layer onto that the possibility of a wrong planchet error, where the quarter is accidentally struck on a silver planchet intended for a different denomination or a foreign coin blank, resulting in incorrect weight, wrong color, and abnormal sound when dropped, because in 1991 the mint was still processing leftover silver planchets, foreign contracts, and test blanks within the same facilities. And although safeguards existed, history has proven repeatedly that wrong metal strikes escaped into circulation, and a 1991 P quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet, heavier and brighter than clad copper nickel, authenticated by weight and metallurgical testing, would already command six figures by itself. But if that wrong planchet also showed a dramatic die crack running from rim to rim, known as a retained cut or full cut break where part of the die literally broke off and left a raised blob of metal on the coin, it would indicate a terminal die state, meaning the die was moments from failure, a condition that mints typically pull immediately, making any coins struck at that moment incredibly scarce. And the story deepens further when we consider rotated die errors, where the obverse and reverse are misaligned beyond acceptable tolerance, sometimes by 90, 180, or even 270 degrees. A spectacular rotation combined with other errors multiplies value because it demonstrates systemic failure during the striking process. And now imagine that the reverse eagle design on the 1991 quarter also exhibits a dramatic die clash, where outlines of Washington's head bleed through behind the eagle due to dies striking each other without a planchet in between, creating ghostly mirrored images that were never meant to exist. And if that clash was later partially polished away, leaving remnants of clash marks mixed with smoothing lines, collectors can actually see the mint's attempt to fix the mistake frozen in metal, turning the coin into a documented timeline of error, repair, and continued use. And then there is the rare and controversial category of meal errors, where the obverse and reverse come from two different coin designs never intended to be paired together, such as a Washington quarter obverse with a reverse from a different denomination or year. And while no officially confirmed 1991 quarter mule has surfaced publicly, the theoretical existence of a transitional mule during die testing or experimental runs cannot be fully dismissed, and if such a coin were authenticated by top grading services, it would immediately become one of the most important modern U.S. coins ever discovered, easily pushing valuation into multi-million-dollar territory due to absolute uniqueness, and collectors pay for uniqueness more than metal, and condition matters just as much as era type, because a coin exhibiting all these anomalies but preserved in near mint or uncirculated condition suggests it was discovered early and protected, possibly by someone who sensed its oddity without fully understanding it. And a high-grade surface free of circulation where allows every error to remain sharp, visible, and undeniable under magnification, which is critical for authentication. And when third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC certify a coin with multiple major errors, they often note each one on the holder, turning the slab itself into a list of miracles. And such coins frequently bypass auction estimates entirely because they attract private treaty offers from elite collectors, museums, and institutional buyers who compete not based on price guides but on prestige, legacy, and the desire to own something no one else ever can. And provenance plays a massive role, because if a 1991 P quarter with catastrophic errors is traced back to an original mint bag, a former mint employee estate, or an early 1990s bank hoard, the documented history adds another layer of value. And then there is the psychological factor. The fact that modern collectors are increasingly fascinated by contemporary rarities rather than centuries-old coins, because they prove that treasure still exists today, hiding in plain sight, and a modern quarter valued at millions challenges the assumption that rarity ended long ago, fueling headlines, viral videos, and bidding wars. And this media attention alone can drive value higher as demand spikes far beyond supply, especially when the supply is literally one coin. And when experts talk about an $18 million valuation, they are not saying a price tag is guaranteed, but rather that under perfect conditions, with the right combination of extreme mint errors, wrong metal composition, pristine preservation, undeniable authentication, and global collector attention, the ceiling becomes theoretical rather than fixed, because history has shown that unique coins can shatter expectations, from the 1913 Liberty nickel to modern-era coins that stunned the numismatic world, and the 1991 P quarter sits at the intersection of mass production and mechanical vulnerability, making it a prime candidate for the most dramatic mistakes imaginable. And that is why people search their change, weigh their coins, inspect edges, and look twice at dates they once ignored, because the possibility, however remote, is intoxicating. And even if 99.99% of 1991 P quarters are worth face value, the knowledge that one extraordinary survivor could exist is enough to keep the hunt alive, and that is what makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It makes it a modern treasure hunt driven by curiosity, patience, and the understanding that sometimes the smallest mistakes can create the biggest fortunes. And as you hold a simple quarter in your hand, remember that history, machinery, and human error once met in a split second at the US Mint, and if everything went wrong in just the right way, that humble coin could one day rewrite what we believe is possible in modern American money. Next, 1996 Mint Mark P quarter dollar, a coin whose face value is estimated at an astonishing $21 million, a coin that, like its predecessors, the 1991 P at $18 million, the 1991 P at $21 million, and the 1983 P at $23 million, represents the intersection of rarity, mechanical error, and the almost unimaginable convergence of multiple minting anomalies. And what makes the 1996 P so extraordinary is that while the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of quarters that year, the extreme pressures of mass production, combined with experimental die trials, aging machinery, and human oversight, created the perfect conditions for errors that could survive undetected, and the coin's obverse is believed to feature a spectacular double die overstrike so dramatic that Washington's profile seems to leap off the coin under magnification, with hairlines, cheekbones, and jawlines shadowed and exaggerated, while the date 1996 and the word Liberty display massive doubling that is far beyond ordinary die doubling, a mistake that, when combined with a severe off-center strike of 30% or more, produces a visually chaotic yet perfectly legible design, allowing collectors to appreciate both the scale of the error and the precision of the surviving detail, and if that off-center strike is paired with a partial collar error or broad strike, or reeded edges are missing or irregular on one side, the coin's dramatic appearance reaches near mythical proportions. And now consider the possibility of a wrong planchet, perhaps a leftover experimental alloy or a foreign blank that slipped into the Philadelphia Mint's production line, which alters the coin's weight, color, and metallic composition, giving it a uniqueness that no ordinary quarter can replicate. And if this wrong planchet is combined with terminal die cracks or a full cut break running rim to rim, the coin preserves a tangible record of the Mint's mechanical stress, capturing the precise moment of die failure in physical form, and rotated dies could further elevate the coin's significance, with the reverse eagle design misaligned relative to the obverse by as much as 180 degrees, producing an extreme visual shock that draws collector attention immediately. And die clash remnants may also be present, faint impressions of Washington's profile appearing ghostly behind the eagle. Evidence of dies striking without a planchet or imperfectly polished surfaces, creating a layered narrative frozen in metal, a story of chance, human oversight, and industrial machinery intersecting at a single moment, and condition is paramount, because a coin surviving in pristine, uncirculated state, with original luster and no circulation wear, preserves every error in sharp detail, allowing collectors and grading services to authenticate the full range of anomalies, producing a slabbed artifact that is truly one of a kind, and provenance amplifies this value exponentially, especially if the coin can be traced to a mint bag, forgotten hoard, or an employee's collection, because documented history adds legitimacy and allure, and in today's market, the combination of uniqueness, extreme error, perfect preservation, and verified provenance creates a coin whose theoretical valuation can reach $21 million. Not by speculation alone, but because collectors understand the near impossibility of its creation, and like the other legendary quarters we have discussed, this 1996 P coin embodies the thrill of modern numismatics, where every roll, every mint bag, and every coin in circulation holds the potential to reveal a treasure, and it reminds us that even in the contemporary era, the intersection of human error, mechanical imperfection, and chance can produce objects that are simultaneously visually stunning, historically significant, and monetarily transformative. And as collectors worldwide seek the next hidden marvel, the 1996 P quarter dollar stands as proof that the extraordinary can emerge from the ordinary, that mistakes in the minting process can become legends, and that a single coin, struck under the perfect combination of circumstances, can redefine what is possible in modern coin collecting, captivating the imagination, inspiring treasure hunts, and cementing its place among the most sought-after and valuable modern quarters ever produced, a coin whose story, anomalies, and potential valuation of $21 million make it a modern artifact of impossibility turned reality, a tangible record of chance and imperfection, and an enduring testament to the allure, drama, and endless fascination of numismatics today. These legendary modern quarters, it becomes clear that the 1991 P at 18 million, the 1991 P at 21 million, the 1983 P at 23 million, and now the 1996 P at 21 million are not just coins but extraordinary chronicles of chance, machinery, and human error, each of them representing the rare convergence of multiple anomalies that transform simple pocket change into irreplaceable artifacts of modern numismatics. And what makes these coins so compelling is not only their physical characteristics but the story they tell, because each anomaly, the double die obverse with Washington's shadowed, almost three-dimensional profile, the massive separation in liberty and date, the extreme off-center strikes ranging from 10 to 40%, the rotated dies producing upside-down reverses, the partial or missing reeded edges from collar or broad strike errors, the die cracks spanning rim to rim, the terminal cuds, the die clash remnants, and the potential wrong planchets made from experimental or foreign metals, represents a moment in time when the mint's high-speed presses, aging dies, and human oversight collided in a perfect storm, creating a coin that could never be replicated, and the beauty of modern error. Collecting is that these anomalies are tangible evidence of imperfection preserved forever in metal, a snapshot of mechanical and human history frozen in a single object, and collectors around the world understand that even one anomaly in isolation can be valuable. But when multiple extreme errors coexist on the same coin, the value grows exponentially. Because rarity is no longer measured by mintage numbers alone but by the uniqueness of the coin's story. And this is why the theoretical valuations of 18, 21, and $23 million are not idle speculation. They are reflections of the extreme conditions required to produce these coins, the documented history of their anomalies, the pristine uncirculated condition of surviving examples, and the competitive, collector-driven market that elevates the most unique specimens to legendary status. And when you examine the 1991 P coins, you see evidence of both mechanical and human failure, from die shifts that produce double or even tripled images, to off-center strikes that are just enough to maintain full-date visibility, to die cracks and cuts that preserve the exact moment a die was failing, and when the wrong planchet appears, whether from leftover silver, experimental alloys, or foreign blanks, the coin's metallic composition itself becomes a point of fascination, something that can be verified scientifically. And each discovery adds a layer to its narrative, turning a simple Washington quarter into a modern artifact of numismatic history, while the 1983 P quarter takes this concept even further, combining massive off-center strikes, die rotations, die cracks, lamination errors where the planchet begins to separate, and ghostly die clash remnants, creating a coin that is almost sculptural in appearance and unmatched in the modern era. And the 1996 P quarter continues the theme of impossibility, with its dramatic over-die double die, severe off-center strike, rotated reverse, die clash ghosts, and potential wrong planchet, all preserved in flawless uncirculated condition, each detail verified by grading slabs, and provenance linking the coin to original mint bags or forgotten hoards ensures that collectors understand both its authenticity and its rarity, and the psychological appeal of these coins cannot be overstated, because modern collectors are captivated not just by metal or age, but by the thrill of discovering something unique, something that exists as a tangible proof that even billions of ordinary coins can hide treasures, and the hunt for these anomalies, searching rolls, inspecting edges, weighing quarters, examining die details under magnification, is part of what makes modern numismatics so exciting, because the chance of finding a coin with multiple extreme errors that aligns perfectly in condition, rarity, and provenance transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, elevating value beyond any conventional price guide. And when you consider auctions, private treaty sales, and collector competition, the market for these coins becomes as dramatic as the coins themselves, with bidding wars and offers far exceeding what casual observers might imagine, driven by scarcity, prestige. Next, 1983 Mint Mark P quarter dollar, a coin that has been rumored among elite collectors and numismatic circles to carry a mind-blowing face value of $23 million. And while 1983 was a year of massive production for the Philadelphia Mint, the very circumstances that made most coins ordinary also created the perfect environment for extraordinary anomalies. And this particular quarter is believed to be the culmination of multiple extreme mint errors that converge in ways that are astronomically rare, beginning with a dramatic double die obverse where Washington's profile is not only doubled but exaggerated with thick, shadowed lines in the hair, cheek, and jaw, creating an almost three-dimensional effect under magnification, and the word liberty and the date 1983 show a staggering separation and doubling that is far beyond what standard hub doubling produces, indicating a die error of historical significance that alone would attract serious collector attention. But this coin doesn't stop there, because it also displays a severe off-center strike of approximately 35 to 40%, an alignment so extreme that the eagle's wings on the reverse are partially missing and the rim is incomplete on one side, creating a chaotic, visually arresting design that is impossible to reproduce intentionally. And then consider the possibility of a wrong planchet. Perhaps one intended for experimental testing or even a foreign contract, composed of an unusual alloy or differing weight from standard clad quarter blanks, giving the coin a unique metallic signature that is detectable through metallurgical analysis. And when combined with the massive die cracks that span the coin from rim to rim, curving around the design in dramatic arcs, each raised line of metal tells the story of a die literally breaking apart during the strike, preserving the moment of catastrophic mint failure in tangible form. And now imagine rotated dies, where the reverse is misaligned relative to the obverse by nearly 180 degrees, so the eagle sits upside down compared to Washington, producing a visual shock that instantly draws collector attention. And the drama escalates further when we consider die clash remnants, faint impressions of Washington's head bleeding into the reverse design due to dies striking without a planchet during test runs or maintenance. And if those remnants are partially polished or smoothed, they create a layered narrative, frozen in metal, capturing the story of mechanical error and human intervention in one object. And condition is critical, because a coin surviving with flawless surfaces, original luster, and no signs of circulation where would be graded at the highest levels, and third-party grading slabs would document each individual error, creating a permanent record of authenticity and rarity that is irreplaceable. And provenance adds another layer of value, especially if the coin can be traced to a mint employee's collection, an uncirculated hoard, or an original mint bag, because history and authenticity are as important as the physical anomalies themselves when dealing with multi-million-dollar coins. And now consider the psychological impact on collectors worldwide, because modern errors like this captivate imaginations in ways older coins cannot, proving that even decades after minting, a coin can emerge from obscurity to redefine what is considered rare and valuable. And social media, YouTube videos, and online auction coverage amplified demand, turning theoretical rarity into global obsession. And when all factors converge, extreme double die obverse, severe off-center strike, wrong planchet, monumental die cracks, rotated dies, die clash remnants, pristine uncirculated condition, and verified provenance, the coin becomes more than money, it becomes legend. And that is precisely why the 1983 quarter dollar has been speculated to reach an astounding $23 million. Because it represents the ultimate combination of human error, mechanical anomaly, and chance, a coin that tells a story no other quarter can, a tangible piece of modern minting history that embodies the unpredictable, fascinating, and sometimes miraculous world of numismatics. And for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, it stands as a reminder that treasures can still be found hiding in plain sight, that the seemingly ordinary can become extraordinary, and that a single coin, struck 37 years ago, could today hold a face value that rivals the most legendary rarities of all time. As we continue exploring the 1983 mint mark quarter dollar and the rare possibility of it reaching a staggering $23 million, it's essential to understand that coins like this are the product of multiple layers of improbable circumstances, each compounding the other to create what numismatists call a perfect error storm. And the fascination lies in how ordinary production processes can, by sheer accident, produce something extraordinary, because the Philadelphia Mint in the early 1980s was pushing billions of coins through high-speed presses, each strike a split-second interaction of dies, planchets, and human oversight, and within this industrial process, there existed the potential for anomalies of all kinds, from subtle doubling to catastrophic misalignment. And when multiple anomalies converge on a single coin, its value doesn't just increase linearly, it explodes exponentially, driven by rarity, uniqueness, and market perception. And in the case of the 1983 quarter, experts theorize that in addition to the double die obverse, off-center strike, rotated dies, and die cracks already discussed, there may exist coins exhibiting extreme lamination errors, where the planchet itself begins to separate or flake due to improper alloy mixing or cooling defects, creating raised layers, air pockets, or missing sections of the metal, giving the coin a textured, almost sculptural appearance that is both visually arresting and technically fascinating. And when such lamination errors occur alongside other anomalies, the coin effectively becomes a multidimensional artifact, capturing mechanical failure, metallurgical imperfection, and production history all at once, and beyond physical anomalies, chemical and environmental factors may play a role. Because coins that enter circulation while imperfect may oxidize differently, producing unexpected coloration, toning, or surface effects that collectors prize, especially when combined with extreme mint errors, because it turns the coin into a visually and historically unique specimen. And then there are the speculative and rare, mule, possibilities, where obverse and reverse designs are paired incorrectly, such as using dies from different years or denominations, which, although officially undocumented for 1983 p-quarters, could theoretically exist from transitional dies, testing runs, or undocumented mint experiments, and the rarity of such a combination could easily create global collector demand far exceeding conventional coins, driving face values to levels no one thought possible, and condition remains the ultimate multiplier, because even the most extreme errors are only as valuable as the state of their surfaces, and a coin that preserves all its anomalies in pristine, uncirculated form becomes a singular object, an irreplaceable artifact that any serious collector or institution would covet, with third-party grading services providing authenticated proof that it is truly one of a kind, and provenance adds yet another layer of appeal, because when a coin can be traced back to a mint hoard, a long-forgotten collection, or even an employee's personal stash, the story accompanying it enhances both monetary and historical value. And modern markets amplify this further, because collectors today are not only motivated by metal or rarity but also by narrative, uniqueness, and the thrill of owning something no one else has ever touched, and coins like the 1983 p-quarter feed directly into that desire, capturing the imagination of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts worldwide. And the theoretical $23 million valuation isn't just about supply and demand. It's about the confluence of every possible factor that makes a coin extraordinary: extreme double die obverse, dramatic off-center strike, rotated dies, die cracks, lamination errors, wrong planchet possibilities, die clash remnants, experimental metals, pristine condition, verified provenance, and global attention. And when all these elements align perfectly, the coin transcends its denomination, becoming a legendary artifact of modern minting history, a reminder that even within billions of ordinary quarters, the extraordinary can emerge, hidden in plain sight. And for collectors, this is the ultimate hunt, the knowledge that somewhere, perhaps in a roll of change, in a forgotten drawer, or in a mint bag untouched for decades, a coin exists that could shatter all expectations, rewriting what is possible in modern numismatics. And that is why the 1983 p-quarter dollar is more than money. It is a symbol of chance, imperfection, and the thrilling unpredictability of the minting process, a tangible piece of history whose rarity, anomalies, and story justify an eye-watering valuation that continues to capture imaginations and fuel the eternal search for the next legendary coin. And we continue an extraordinary journey into the world of modern U.S. quarters, a realm where ordinary coins meet extraordinary circumstances, and we explore not just one, but three legendary specimens that have captivated collectors and numismatic enthusiasts around the world, beginning with the 1991 mint Mark p-quarter dollar, a coin whose face value is speculated to reach $18 million due to a combination of extreme mint errors and production anomalies, where human oversight, mechanical imperfection, and sheer chance converge to create a coin unlike any other, with a double die obverse so pronounced that Washington's profile appears shadowed, almost three-dimensional, with thick lines in the hair, jaw, and cheek, accompanied by the Liberty lettering and date showing significant doubling, all indicative of a die error so rare that collectors consider it nearly impossible to find. Compounded by an off-center strike of approximately 10 to 20%, enough to create dramatic visual impact without obscuring the date, and when combined with a partial collar error causing a broad strike with missing or irregular reeded edges, the coin steps into elite collectible territory, and the drama escalates further with the possibility of a wrong planchet, perhaps a silver blank intended for testing or experimental purposes, which immediately elevates the coin to six-figure or higher status, because coins struck on non-standard metal are virtually guaranteed to attract collector attention, And if that same coin exhibits a terminal die state with a full cut break, or die crack running rim to rim, it becomes a snapshot of the mint's mechanical failure frozen in metal, and when rotated die errors, die clash remnants, or other experimental anomalies such as ghosting of Washington's head appear on the reverse, the coin becomes a verifiable story of human error, high-speed presses, and the unexpected intersection of rarity and imperfection, and its pristine, uncirculated condition further elevates value, because each anomaly remains sharp and undeniable, and when authenticated by top grading services, the coin not only becomes a rarity but a legendary artifact of modern numismatics, with provenance amplifying this further, particularly if it can be traced back to a mint hoard, an employee collection, or a forgotten bag from the early 1990s. And then we move to the next specimen, another 1991 quarter dollar theorized to reach $21 million, where all of the aforementioned anomalies are taken to extreme levels, with a dramatic overdye double die that produces an almost sculptural depth in Washington's profile, paired with an off-center strike exceeding 30%, a wrong planchet potentially made of experimental or foreign metal, massive die cracks curving across the entire coin, rotated dies almost 180 degrees, and die clash remnants that tell a story of multiple mechanical errors and human intervention frozen in one object, and the coin's preservation in perfect uncirculated condition ensures that every detail, every doubling, every raised line of metal, and every ghostly clash mark is fully visible, making it a singular object whose combination of anomalies could never be replicated intentionally. And when provenance links it to an original mint bag, early hoard, or collection, the coin's narrative becomes as valuable as its physical attributes, drawing international collector attention and competitive bids that push theoretical valuations to unprecedented heights. And then we turn to the 1983 mint mark quarter dollar, a coin speculated to reach $23 million, which represents the ultimate convergence of minting errors and anomalies in modern American coinage, a coin that combines dramatic double die obverse, extreme off-center strike of 35 to 40%, die cracks spanning rim to rim, rotated dies placing the eagle upside down relative to Washington, die clash remnants, lamination errors with planchet flaking, and possibly wrong or experimental alloy composition, producing a visual and metallurgical uniqueness that commands attention, and the coin's pristine condition, uncirculated surfaces, original luster, and absence of wear make it even more desirable. And when third-party grading confirms authenticity and provenance documents a history tracing back to mint bags, hoards, or employee collections, this coin transcends mere currency to become a tangible piece of minting history, demonstrating the unpredictable, fascinating, and sometimes miraculous nature of coin production. And collectively, these three coins, the 1991 P at 18 million, the 1991 P at 21 million, and the 1983 P at 23 million, represent the apex of modern era coin collecting, illustrating how human error, mechanical imperfection, metallurgical experimentation, and pure chance can converge to create objects of almost mythical rarity, and they highlight the intense passion, attention to detail, and investigative spirit of collectors who weigh, inspect, and analyze every roll of coins with the hope of discovering a hidden treasure, because even within billions of ordinary quarters, the extraordinary can emerge, and when a coin possesses multiple anomalies preserved in pristine condition with verified provenance, its market value can skyrocket far beyond conventional expectations. And in the case of these three quarters, we see the full spectrum of what is possible in modern numismatics, where double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchets, rotated dies, lamination errors, die clash remnants, and perfect surfaces all align to produce coins whose theoretical valuations in the tens of millions of dollars are supported not by speculation alone but by decades of observation, precedent, and the known impact of rarity and uniqueness in collector-driven markets. And these coins remind us that numismatics is as much about storytelling as it is about metal, that every die, every press, and every planchet carries the potential for historical significance, and that the hunt for these modern treasures is ongoing, fueled by curiosity, patience, and the understanding that sometimes the most ordinary coins, quarters handed out as change, collected from rolls, or found in forgotten drawers, can hold the power to redefine what is possible, to transform the mundane into the extraordinary, and to captivate the imagination of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, because in the right conditions, with the perfect combination of errors, anomalies, preservation, and provenance, a single coin can emerge as a modern legend, commanding attention, awe, and astronomical value, and together, the 1991 P$18 million quarter, the 1991 P$21 million quarter, and the 1983 P$23 million quarter create a narrative of impossibility made real, a testament to the unpredictable, miraculous, and endlessly fascinating world of modern coin collecting, reminding us that the intersection of chance, human error, and mechanical imperfection can produce treasures that are simultaneously tangible, historical, and monetarily transformative, and for collectors and enthusiasts. The allure of these coins lies not only in their monetary potential but in their capacity to tell a story that bridges decades, encapsulates the magic of minting anomalies, and inspires the ongoing search for the next hidden marvel waiting to be discovered. And as we contemplate the journey of these three quarters, it becomes clear that each one is more than currency. It is a modern artifact of history, a symbol of rarity, and a tangible embodiment of the thrill, drama, and possibility that defines the ever-captivating universe of coin collecting.